Heading off on vacation, you'll likely take along a camera, or at least your phone, so you can snap a picture of anything interesting you just might see. Just be careful, because there is apparently a lot that you cannot take a photo of. From military and government facilities to historic and culturally significant locations, regulations banning photographs are in some surprising places. Lenin's Mausoleum. Moscow is truly a beautiful city, and tourists who travel there often end up in Red Square. One of the biggest attractions here is the mausoleum of the famous communist revolutionary Vladimir Lenin. Being such an important figure in Russia's history, Lenin's body has been preserved and is on display since the 1920s. Yet, don't expect to snap a picture of his body if you visit. Rules are very strict, and cameras are forbidden inside the tomb. If you break this rule, a shirtless Vladimir Putin will leap out and wrestle your camera away. No, we're kidding, but you will get in a lot of trouble. Abu Dhabi. If you're heading to the Middle Eastern destination of Abu Dhabi, be sure to check up on what you can take pictures of, because a lot of locations are off limits. Take for instance the Yes Marina racetrack. Now, you'd think being a Formula One racetrack you could snap a couple pics of this Abu Dhabi attraction. Wrong. That goes for the exterior of the presidential palace as well. If it's even suspected your camera is pointed in the direction of these locations, you can get arrested, fined, and even face jail times, as some unfortunate visitors have found out. Airports. It goes without saying that pulling out a camera and snapping pics while going through security or customs at an airport is a good way to catch a beatdown. But what about the other more open areas of the facility? Even here, you need to be careful, because many airports frown on anyone taking pictures inside their buildings. First, it's obviously a security concern related to terrorism. However, some airports around the world can also be operated by the military, automatically making them off limits to any amateur camera work. The Pentagon. This one kinda goes without saying. Built in the 1940s, the Pentagon is the heart of the US military. Naturally, with so many important people and classified documents in the area, photographs are strictly forbidden. Violate this rule and you won't get much sympathy either. Guards will be quick to point out all the no pictures signs plastered everywhere, all while taking away your camera and probably inserting your personal information into some sort of NSB terrorist database. Westminster Abbey. This one may surprise you a bit. Of all the abbeys in the world, this is probably the most famous thanks to its ties with royalty and other famous figures of the past. For those who travel to England, Westminster Abbey is definitely a tourist stop, yet it does have its catch. You see, the rules are very clear that you are not allowed to photograph or video record anything inside the church itself. Maybe officials don't want the flash to damage anything, or maybe they just want you to dish out some extra money for a postcard. Taj Mahal. When you think of iconic Indian landmarks, you likely immediately picture the Taj Mahal. Its amazing architecture attracts millions of visitors, and its exterior is easily recognizable even if you've never been there in person. Yet, have you ever seen a picture from inside of the Great Mausoleum? Probably not. This is because Indian authorities have banned tourists from snapping any shots of the interior. We guess because it's a tomb, this makes sense, but it leaves us wondering if the interior is as spectacular as the outside. Kumsusat, Palace of the Sun. Let's be honest, it goes without saying that taking a camera out in most parts of North Korea is going to land you in a lot of trouble. This place is definitely up there. You see, this palace is actually a mausoleum that houses the remains of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. With police and guides watching tourists like hawks, you'd likely never get a camera into the building. If somehow you did, well, good luck, because North Korea's past two leaders are considered gods, and the locals don't take kindly to outsiders snapping pictures of their dead gods. The Alamo. Remember the Alamo? Well, that's going to be a bit harder when you find out you can't take pictures here. Even if you've never been there, you likely know the Alamo is a historically significant location. For 13 days in 1836, a group of Texans, which included famed figures James Bowie and Davy Crockett, held off a much larger Mexican force until they were eventually overwhelmed. Now designated as a shrine, visitors have to keep their cameras tucked away or face some tough Texas justice. The Sistine Chapel. In the Vatican City, it is probably the most famous chapel of them all. What makes the Sistine Chapel so world-renowned? The many frescoes which cover the interior make it a sight that tourists just don't want to miss. The main attraction, though, is surely Michelangelo's The Last Judgment, but don't even think about taking a picture. Security watch all visitors like hawks, and they are even authorized to confiscate your gear and pictures should you get caught in the act trying to take a quick pic. Japanese temples. This really is a case of some tourists ruining it for the rest of us. You see, one of the key attractions for tourists throughout Japan are the ancient temples, complete with scenic gardens. Scattered throughout the country, tourists would flock to these locations to snap pictures of the beautiful scenery and architecture. But not anymore. After herds of visitors trampled plants and damaged some areas in order to get the perfect shot, several famous temples have been slapped with a no photography ban. With that information in hand, you are now better equipped to photograph the world around you. But before you head out, be sure to check out our other offerings at The Richest, and as always, be sure to subscribe. Bye-bye!